teams. NA will never let Europe forget about it.
Absolutely not. I mean, it's always that rivalry, isn't it? The NA EU across all esports is always, you know, who's better, who's going to be the best, and then they come over to Asia and get completely stopped.
Yeah, it depends on the game, but for the most part, that holds true.
Yeah, Brazil will be banned away by SK again. They just don't want to face off against it. Violet banned from Liquid. See if the Ryoma gets through this time.
It's not SK who've been banning the Ryoma, it's been Liquid. So I think Liquid are afraid of whether SK get it. And now if Liquid don't ban it on the second phase, I think we might see Liquid first pick it. There's a reason why Liquid are banning it against SK, and I think we could see SK pick it if it's not banned out. I think they have to throw the ban over to Ryoma because there's no reason to adapt it at the moment. All the picks that are on the board are fine. There's some playstyle differences though.
Yeah, it's just going to get banned away, so SK won't get their hands on it just yet. What sort of picks are they going to prioritize? The Slims getting locked in.
It worked out great from last game, took it off of Liquid. If they want to go run B through frontline, then Slims is your man.
L'Oreal being hovered by Liquid this time, so not going to have the double mage threat on SK Gaming if they opt to lock that one in. Could be looking, especially with this early being picked up, the L'Oreal, you could be looking at Alice later down in their pick ban, so you know, is that for that?
Always an option. But, yeah, so Liquid have locked in the L'Oreal, which will probably go over to Jackie. Yet. Well, I think they will.
They should do.
They should do. Locked themselves in the L'Oreal. I don't think we'll see Chalgnar this game, because I think it's Jackie who will be playing this L'Oreal ultimately. And I
could see it on SK.
I'm talking about L'Oreal at the moment.
Okay, but it's locked in.
Yeah, you're talking about Chalgnar being locked in. I'm talking about a reason why Chalgnar wasn't locked in on the second pick on Liquid. It's because Jackie will be playing in the mid lane. I don't think they want to run the support Chalgnar. That is, though, an option for SK Gaming because they get to lock in someone who's considered a mid laner.
Yeah, and that's going to be the Chalgnar coming on in. Lubu will be following up with that second pick up in their second phase.
So Lubu, solid off laner. Pish played it a couple of times. They played it in game 1 and was a little bit late to the team fights in certain situations, and along with Zuka, weren't able to pick off the threat of the team, which was Slims. Oh. However, Slims is an issue, it's on their team this time.
Zenio being hovered, again, one of those heroes that isn't released in the Western regions. Liquid, though.
If they lock these two picks in, they'll last pick Alice.
Almost certainly. I would definitely agree with that. Ormar does get locked in, and yeah, that Zenio goes on through as well. They've obviously been practicing with their Korean counterparts.
Yeah, I think that Bag will lock in the Alice next phase. I'm not 100% sold because I feel that they're lacking someone who's often considered a jungler.
Will SK lock in the Alice here? Not sure.
They're hovering towards picking a mid laner, so I think they're going to put Chalgnar on support again. So I don't think they will lock in the Alice. I'm not so certain Liquid will lock in the Alice themselves, because I don't see someone who's considered a jungler in that roster, in that lineup at the moment.
On SK?
No, on Liquid.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I mean, they're capable of doing it, but I don't see them as I don't see any of those primarily as a jungler. So I think they might have something else in planned. Possibly Nacroft.
Potentially, but or it could be the Zephyrus as well, is still available. Praetor and Crushed being locked in for SK Gaming, and the Tel Anis being hovered by Liquid. We haven't seen her in the jungle before.
Yeah, so it was day 1 and 2. We saw a lot of Praetor being that third option for the mid lane. It was L'Oreal, Raz, and it was Praetor. So definitely has his place in the meta at the moment, and falling back onto that Crushed on the side of SK. So they have that initiation, they have that tank, that dedicated tank, shall we say, because there's a lot of resistances flowing around on the side of SK, but not someone who's there to be the pure tank and initiator of the team and allow the rest of SK to get up in the face of Liquid if that needs to be the case. But it's a good thing they definitely picked up Slims, looking at what Liquid has got in the bag at the moment.
Yeah, that triple tank setup from Malok, Ormar, and Zenial will be rounded out by the Tel Anis, which does get locked in. So the rosters are on the cards. Slims going over to the Hands of Light, which will be opted to be put in the jungle. It looks like they might have the Zenial in the jungle as well with the... oh no, the Tel Anis does change over to Punish, so that's going to be where the marksmen tend to be going into the jungle these days.
Yeah, well, if you put the marksman in the jungle, they're less likely to be... I think they're less likely to die in the jungle than they are in the lane, purely because it's very easy to identify when they're at threat. Multiple members missing off the map. Typically, it will just be a 1v1 if you have a missing lane. Whereas the jungler can go into the lane and create a 2v1, and you won't know about it. Whereas if they have to go into the jungle to do it, you've got the information. So I feel marksmen are slightly safer in the jungle after the initial level 1, where a lot of invades can happen.
Well, we'll see how safe they are in the initial level 1. It will be SK Gaming taking on Team Liquid. Game number 3 of their best of 3 series. SK Gaming taking a convincing win in the second after Liquid had shown them that NA aren't the worst region in the all. Certainly nothing to be sniffed at.
Liquid's composition screams to me Siege. The beefy front line, you've got the L'Oreal for the backup damage, but you can fall back on Tel'Arnis' range to take these towers at a distance, and if they try to initiate on you, good luck getting through all their tanks. Yeah,
well, I mean, you've got the Slims to try and shred through it, which is kind of their saving grace, so maybe they'll be able to find some openings there, but SK Gaming are going to have their work cut out.
If Slim's mispositioned, he's getting shimmer shotted immediately.
Absolutely. That's that ranged stun coming out from the Tel'Arnis will just be able to CC him out straight away. SK Gaming will be on the blue side once again. The side that they did lose on, actually. So red side has had 100% win rate so far in this series. Not too sure. It's not really too much to go on.
I don't think that's affected so much. I don't think the picks have been an issue with the victories or losses in this game. It's been how they've played them.
I think
so. I think the only time that the side, because the game is mirrored, like what we see is not what they see.
Yeah.
I think the sides aren't that affected, depending on the actual map itself. It's more to do with what you can get in draft. And I don't think the picks have been an issue with these two teams and how they've been able to win these games. I think more of it has been based on their playstyle and certain mistakes they've made throughout the game.
Yeah, we'll see. Are they going to make any more mistakes? That's the question. Are they going to try and tighten up their game? Or were SK kind of just trolling in that first one? Or
I don't think SK were trolling. I think they were trying. I think they genuinely thought they could win with that composition. I don't think you want to troll in this match, because this is a match. Yes, you're getting money. This is a match about regional pride. You want to just shut them down straight away and lord this over them for the rest of the time. You don't mess around with that opportunity.
No, it's something that you can't well, you can't give it up, can you? It's certainly a matter of pride, but no early scuffles going on for either of these teams. Obviously, being this crucial match, you might not want to risk anything too aggressive or try and go for anything. You can see Green just checking out the river brushes. Liquid
need to be very careful about what they do until they get Geordie to hit level 4. Because if before he has access to his ultimate...
The long-range spear? No, they're not going to engage.
Before he has access to his ultimate, it's very difficult for him to split push and jump into the fight as well. Same thing with Bag. He hasn't got his ultimate yet.
All 5 members of both teams around the Spirit Sentinel. Not too sure who they went over to, but there's a fight about to erupt. Liquid are going to be the people to try and engage it. EDU has to fall on out. Knight with a triple knockup. Jackie is going to get taken low as well. Knight is going to go
Tel'Arnis is untouched.
Tel'Arnis is untouched in the backlines, just dealing the damage all over the shop. And that's going to be another fall for the Zenial for Team Liquid.
So there we go. He's got his ultimate available now. They can put a little bit more focus on keeping him in side lanes and him joining fights later than what SK can afford to do to gain that additional pressure around the map. On top of that, you can't underestimate the value of his short-range leap, which is also a knock-up. His AoE heal off the back of his ultimate as well to help reset the fight with his presence as well.
The ability to come into those fights is something that you can't disregard. Knight will try and keep that pressure on, though, to try and maintain the fact that he has to stay there.
And Lubu should be able to. Like I said, the advantage of Zenial comes when it gets to the time when you're grouping around objectives. Lubu has to leave the lane so much earlier than Zenial does, and that's where he builds his advantages. And he doesn't really lose anything for it because of his ultimate and be able to join the fight. So he doesn't create a man advantage for his opponents around these objective fights.
Still playing it relatively slow. We did see, though, Team Liquid last game have that 2-0 lead at the start, and then SK Gaming just sort of rolled on through and you know, took the victory. Abyssal Dragon hasn't been started, but I think Team Liquid want to try and go in on it at this point. Tel'Arnis is trying to back off Edu on that on the Chaugnar. I think they want to go for this Abyssal.
Well, it's getting on to 4 minutes now. They should have taken it 2 minutes ago.
Oh, there's the Metamorphosis. Stun onto 3. Will be able to zone out the back line. Jackie is going to go down. Light is able to claim the kill as they continue to push on through. Dave will fall pretty soon, and they're having flashbacks to last game. This is SK rolling on through. EDU will go down. Abyssal Dragon helping out with that one, and they're starting to trade the kills back over to
Dragon's at risk of resetting.
Abyssal Dragon solo, and it gets the reset. So SK, they want to go for this. Light has to solo it out and will take a lot of damage going on through. You can see just how much damage it will be this early on in the game. Jody has joined the fight, remember, on that Zenial, able to do just that. Louis will try and help it out. Jordy just zoning them off the Abyssal Dragon. Hopefully it won't get reset again.
They're waiting for L'Oreal and Telanis to get there.
Yeah, it's get reset again.
Well played by Jordy.
Aren't going to be able to pick up the Dragon. Light hops away to the safety of Pish, and Jackie tries to dive on in to get it back, but they're going to try and re-engage the fight. Same fight as last time. Liquid, you need to play it a little bit better.
They don't have Lubu.
They do not have Lubu with them. This is not good for SK Gaming. Pish, very, very low, doesn't have his Metamorphosis to save him. There's the Abyssal Dragon going over to Liquid. Chowdnar falls as well, and Liquid maintain the pressure.
Well played by Jordy.
Yeah. Credit to him.
To be able to stall that out for that long to allow the rest of his team to respawn, they also got, SK Gaming got debated by it because effectively they sent Lubu top there. Slims was like, yeah, I've got this. No one's going to stop me. This is our Dragon, so go top. And then SK Gaming kind of realized there's a problem, send 4 members, but Liquid has already committed 5 to the fight. They don't even have to use any of their major ultimates to get into that situation. Zenial doesn't have to travel across the map. Malok doesn't have to. They're already in position. Yes, Lubu gets a top lane tower, but you lose several kills in the Abyssal Dragon for an outer tower. It's not a worthwhile trade.
Then EDU trying to roam into a brush where he knows there's loads of enemies behind him, and he will just have to turn tail. Seems to be a recurring theme for EDU. Or Edu. We're calling him Edu or EDU?
Edu.
Edu.
Or Edu. Edu is what I was going to go with.
Metamorphosis onto Jackie, getting jumped on as well. L'Oreal. Endure will come back, and there's Dave to back them up under the turret. You don't want to be doing that. Malok will just secure Jackie's position in that fight, but SK, they haven't lost any members yet, and they actually are doing quite a lot of damage to Dave as well on that Telanis, so they have to back off. Both teams not really gaining too much there. Praetor trying to get the poke damage, and the stun goes onto Green. They can initiate onto this. Lubu will try and dash on in. The knockup goes onto Jordy, but it's going to have to back off.
Still carrying on.
Will go very low. Here's the poke from Praetor. Edu will survive. Knight trying to get the knockup. Will just try and brawl it out, but they're all just going to disengage and nothing really happens. Not too sure what was going on there.
Praetor was waiting to try and give some supplementary damage and come in, but when he missed his ability, he missed a significant chunk of his damage rotation, at which point it's too risky for him to go in because they could turn the fight onto Praetor and get the kill on him instead. So he wouldn't be making a hero play, he'd be making a sacrifice play.
Don't want to sacrifice anything. Abyssal Dragon on the cards. SK Gaming have the man advantage around the area of the map, but Malok's there to challenge. And of course you've got Jordy who can just air support in. Abyssal Dragon.
There's too many members on the top side of the map for Team Liquid, so they're going to have to get the top outer tower and try and pressure the inner at least on this one to try and make this trade work. Unless Bag gets a clutch steal in there, he's at risk of getting himself killed. They need the hard CC to stop him from getting out.
There's the ult. He will just defensively get away out of that one. Edu still trying to keep the pressure on, but this inner turret is in so much danger right now. Knight is going to be able to stand up to all 4 members of Team Liquid.
They've got the wave to pressure the top in high ground as well.
They've got the range on Telanis. The damage will go through. Metamorphosis tries to zone them away, but the stun is just going to disengage. Green, however, isn't going to be so lucky. He will go down. That will be picked up by Louis.
Slims, I think, is going to go and try and steal away this blue buff side of the map. Now they're looking for an invade onto the Might Goal and try and get as many resources as they can from the red side of the jungle and then possibly begin to pressure.
Look at the bot lane.
So we get the pressure they've got middle lane.
He is going to trade the inner turret back over, so SK actually come out on top because of course they got the kill over towards their bot side.
And the Abyssal Dragon.
And the Abyssal Dragon. So a good trade over the course of a couple of seconds.
And as this game goes on, it's more important to have pressure on the bottom side of the map than it is to have it on the top. So I think it actually edges it out in favor of SK Gaming that they've whittled away the bottom lane and they can exert more pressure on the map when it comes to these Dark Slayer engagements.
You say that, but of course the Zenial can just sit in that bottom lane, keep that wave D pushed, and then ult in as needed. But not going to dissuade them from going for these engages. Knight will pop the ultimate and start to try and go for the engage. Here comes the Zenial jumping on in, and Knight is going to take so much damage, has to get healed up, will be able to jump away. Metamorphosis to disengage, and SK are going to start to show up in the fight. Jackie on the backlines has to dash away. A double kill so far for Crest. Bag is maybe soon to follow, but he is able to turn around, gets the pick off onto Edu. Jackie has to pop Endure, but here comes Knight back into the fight on the sidelines. Is he going to be able to pick up the kill? The knockup.
Bag can't get Slims.
He will go down. Knight is going to get taken down by Bag, and it's an ace for Team Liquid as the fight goes this way, that way. Finally, it's fluid enough to go over to Liquid.
That was max range on that last attack from Malok to secure the kill on the Slims. Just on a fraction, if he could have got away a little bit faster,
stop taking turret.
Maybe could have turned it around and potentially even came back onto Dave if he was quick enough.
Yeah, unfortunately, he wasn't able to do so. The Malok did survive, and they're able to push in on the on towards the high ground turret in the mid lane. Won't get taken completely, but still the threat there. Half HP on that. Dark Slayer is being zoned around by Team Liquid, but with Telanis and Bag on such low HP. Now Telanis is able to live steal that up, and Bag is just going to go back to base. So if they're able to rally him around, it won't be too much of an issue. But if SK had made a bold call, they might have been able to pinch the Dark Slayer.
Let's get into that window of time where it is a viable option for them. But they don't have a lot of control on the map in terms of turrets. It's all on the bottom side, but they need to start cracking open the rest of these lanes so they can start to set traps in the jungle, start to get these solo picks off. Because I think at this point in time, SK Gaming, they need to have a multiple man advantage before they even attempt to do an objective. And the same thing goes for Liquid, really. No one's really got that massive edge where they could contest a 50-50 Dark Slayer.
No, they only have the one punish as well on the side of SK Gaming. Compare that to what you've got over on Team Liquid. You've got the two on Geordie and Dave. They have got the sort of innate advantage there, but it's going to be all about the zoning.
Beautiful start on the four members.
Metamorphosis will engage the fight for SK. They're going to try and rally around it. The knockup coming through from Bag on the back line. Nobody falling just yet, but it's going to be Green who goes down first. Dave soon to follow. Jack.
They've got nowhere to go.
It's not going to work for you. It is up, but it's not going to be popped. Bag is going to fall as well, and Geordie is the last man standing for Team Liquid. That's a triple kill coming out for Slims. You can see why it was first lock-in. The quadra kill will be picked up, and that is going to be a devastating blow to Team Liquid.
One of the biggest problems was that the majority of the Team Liquid roster was forced up the jungle round the Mike Golem camp. Meanwhile, you had Jackie who was caught off in the thing. So here's a replay, and watch what I mean. All of them are forced up apart from Geordie. Jackie comes back in and he's got Geordie to help him out. But here, Bag jumps back into the fight, and Dave and Green are isolated. So the majority of SK take them out, and then they come back round to pincer the Liquid lineup with the superior health bars, because they created a mini man advantage for themselves in the fight and translated it to win it out together.
That's a brilliant quad kill being picked up by the Slims. See what they were able to gain. They were able to crack open the base of Team Liquid with that mid lane high ground turret on that push. And they're going to start up the Dark Slayer. Slims isn't around to try and contest, but the rest of them are. They do have all their ultimates available. There's the Metamorphosis again, finding two on the back line. Slims is going to jump over, but he has so many members of Liquid to deal with him.
What
He's
are you
doing?
doing?
Down. Jackie will find the first kill on the sidelines. It is going to remain untouched now. Check out the damage coming out from L'Oreal. It's going to be massive. SK are able to pinch two members out. Jackie has to pop the Endure over the wall. 3 players down for SK now as Liquid try and turn the fight around. The Metamorphosis engage was good, but it's not going to be good enough to carry the fight. Geordie trying to follow it onto Louis. He will fall with that pop, and that is Liquid showing just how strong they're going to be in these team fights. SK aren't the only ones who can do it.
What the heck was Light doing?
Yeah, it was a
blind jumping over the wall into 4 members of the Team Liquid roster. That's the exact opposite of where you want to be. I get that you had a great engage with the Crest, but there's no reason to put yourself in such a dangerous position for the sake of one potential kill. You lost yourself out of that fight so early that SK just didn't have the damage to win out that fight. That fight wasn't won by Liquid, that was won by Light.
Yeah, he jumped over with a bit of a silly misposition, but the saving grace, of course, the fact that the waves were all pushed out for SK Gaming. The Dark Slayer wasn't taken for Liquid. They couldn't go for that objective after losing 2 of their members already, so they had to back off. They couldn't really gain anything from that. The Abyssal Dragon is going to be spawning soon, but the Dark Slayer probably the priority in terms of objectives that are going to be coming up now.
Light essentially just did a wild turtle.
A little bit.
You get that reference from other MOBAs, but he just did a wild turtle.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a...
And that's cost him in his own respective game.
Yeah, it's not... Well, it hasn't cost them the game yet, and they are just going to push in the mid lane. Team Liquid expecting them to go for the Dark Slayer play, but instead what they're going to do is they're going to pressure in that mid. They have already taken the high ground turret, so maybe it would have been a better idea to pressure the bot lane or potentially even the top lane, but of course Liquid slightly better positioned around that top lane, so maybe not, but here we go. SK starting to position for the Dark Slayer.
Want to grab that Spirit Stone first with that regen buff. Green zone very low. Beautiful disengage by Dave with the Shimmer Shot.
Is it going to be enough? The Metamorphosis is not going to find any stuns, but there's the Slim Spirit Jackie. Ooh, and Jaw isn't going to be enough to save you there. Knight is going to pick up the kill. They're just going to roll on through. This could be the game if SK are able to pick up one, maybe even two more kills. Dave gets knocked up. The Malok is going to knock up two, but it's not going to save them for very long. Edu, well, he could go down here. The Chowdnar at risk, but the rest of SK are just going to roll on through. It's going to be...
That's the game.
Yeah, Geordie will be able to pick up Edu, but that is the game. Light still alive, not going to miss position in this fight. They are going to pick up almost all the kills. Two tanky players left for Liquid. With Geordie on the back line, though, not too sure they're going to want to try and fight that one.
Geordie's just trying to clear out the wave to stop the resistance coming in. Even if he goes down and there's no wave, it's a chance the bag can put up some kind of resistance with the quarter reinforcement, but he couldn't clear out that final siege minion.
It's not going to be enough.
Go down.
SK Gaming finally able to close out game number 3. They will take home the victory. It's going to be EU to take the match. And that is going to be a long heralded victory for time to come.
Not a eulogy, instead it will be euphoria from the boys from Turkey. And I'm going to concede it because I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong. Team Liquid thoroughly surprised me. They did their research. They took in what was being played in these stronger regions. They used the fact that they were out in Korea significantly earlier than SK to pick up these heroes and have access to these heroes that SK haven't had access to. Things like the Rome and Zenial. They could have been practicing these in the region longer, understanding it. And it also